continuing, and I'm sure some of you may want to share a couple of reflections with the wider group. So, does anybody want to share some headlines from their table? Okay, let's just pause our conversations at the tables, and we'll hear back just from a few of you.
Okay, I will sing and you dance. Still remember last night. Anyway, for us...
Why don't you stand up then? And then
okay, yeah, I need to stand. I need to put this so that you can see me. That's the good thing of being small. Okay. This is particularly relevant if we are just talking of relevance. This is all relevant to our country. But reaching there is another thing. Reaching to that stage is another thing. Just remember, Malaysia and the particular place where we went to is not a very disaster-prone or hazard-prone state compared to the provinces where we came from. It's different. And second, Selangor is aiming to be one of the the most livable city in the region, and that's why they're aiming for that. We saw only one in Malaysia, Selangor. We haven't seen other states like Kuala Lumpur, how advanced it is or not. So we just saw a sample of how a state could manage a disaster preparedness like that. Given the situation, they are not very disaster prone compared to our countries, okay? But relevance in the sense that we all should aim for that. To our organization, yes, and to our region, it is relevant, but going there is not easy. I'm just thinking, when we came here, we had one with us from the local government, Balts, from local government, and we asked him immediately after the visit, how is it relevant to you? And he said it's very relevant. We could be like that. We could be like that because we had the capacity, and we are aiming towards that. In fact, they had initiated a talk with the people there. So that means if you are a local government, meeting a local government institutions like that, it would be easier for you to start a conversation. And for NGOs like that, like us, we can start the conversation, but again, going back to our country, we would refer to our respective local government to say that, hey, there is like this, like that. And yeah, it is also technology-based, so it's not, in other words, it's not impossible, but it's still a long way to go. Even in Selangor, with that, still a way to go to be the most livable city in the region, because that's their aim. And at the moment, if you look at the data, the 10 most livable cities are concentrated in Europe, in Canada, and in Australia. Nothing of our country, or not any other of our country, is considered the most or livable city. I'm just wondering why this European come to our country and live in our country. Anyway, so that's a good visit. Thank you very much for organizing, and we all enjoy it. And it's a good thing to really think about and dream about how to get there.
Thank you, Zen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Other reflections? Any other reflections from conversations at your tables? Anybody want to share anything? Yeah. Okay.
Small group of 4 or 5. First of all, my personal reflection. This is very, whatever we saw discussed today morning, it was very comprehensive. A lot of commitment from the government. And it can serve as a benchmark for so many emerging Asian cities. That's how I perceive it. And particularly for me, for us, Nepal, it is very much relevant because we are going through the governance restructuring process. We now have provincial government, we now have municipal governments, rural municipalities, etc. And the system they have devised can serve as a reference for us. That's why it is very much relevant for us. So we briefly had a critical discussion on some of the areas that they have been doing, particularly on the governance side. In the earlier part, getting people's involvement in decision making is very good. But as long as it is related to the response, disaster response, command center, etc., they get the data and they decide whatever they want to do. People's involvement or feedback mechanism is somehow what we perceive is not there. So this is something very much critical. There has to be a system to get municipalities and cities involved, people involvement in the decision-making process. That's what something we see can be improved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fantastic. Okay, point from Pedro over there. Thank you.
Bueno, hemos pensado que en primer lugar es necesario reconocer que se trata de un gobierno recientemente constituido y por lo tanto lo que se ha expresado es mucho de lo que se quiere hacer más de lo que se está haciendo, ¿no? Porque recién empieza. Y entonces tenemos que ver que es un conjunto de intenciones lo que se ha mostrado. Ahora bien, dentro de esto nos parece importante el tener en cuenta que las tecnologías son un medio y no un fin en sí mismo. Y por lo tanto lo que hay que ver es para qué sirve la tecnología de información. Y no hay que confundir tecnología, digamos, información con conocimiento, con inteligencia. Son cosas distintas. Las máquinas, las computadoras, los sistemas informáticos no tienen inteligencia ni tienen capacidad para discernir, para reflexionar, para tomar decisiones. Y entonces creo que esto hay que tenerlo muy claro. Y entonces cuando tenemos información es un buen paso, pero lo que hay que preguntarse es si esta información, primero, que si es suficiente, segundo, si es una información que recoge no solamente lo que se quiere hacer, sino lo que la gente quiere hacer, ¿no? Y no siempre esto ha sido evidenciado, ¿no? Tiene que haber, en términos de los sistemas de información, una interacción, ¿no? Recoger las opiniones de la gente y recoger también o plantearse qué es lo que se quiere hacer a partir de ese diálogo. Esto no ha habido diálogo. Y entonces señalamos esto y por último, tener en cuenta que la respuesta no se puede dar solamente en base a equipamiento, sistemas de información, etc. La respuesta tiene que implicar también a la gente misma. Y esto nos da la impresión de que faltaba mucho, ¿no?
Gracias, Pedro. Gracias.
Ok, merci. Ok, merci. Nous aussi, nous avons mené la réflexion. Mettez vos casques, s'il vous plaît. Mettez-le. Voilà, c'est ça, sans changer. Donc, la première question à laquelle on était parvenu, c'est de savoir si une ville smart veut dire une ville résiliente. Une région smart est-elle forcément résiliente? On n'est pas forcément parvenu à une réponse. Mais on a constaté aussi que tout ce qui nous avait été présenté aujourd'hui était très bien beau. Et que si tout marchait très bien, cette communauté-là devait être surpeuplée en temps normal. Mais ce n'est pas le cas. Donc, on se dit, on n'a pas pu avoir la vie des communautés bénéficiaires. Du coup, on se dit, quelle est l'appréciation? Ça, ce n'est que la vision politique qui nous a été présentée. Et cette vision ressemble à une projection. Donc, on n'est pas encore, on ne maîtrise pas encore tout, on est encore dans le temps. On nous a dit jusqu'en 2020, c'est bien ça, 2025, c'est la projection, mais on ne nous a pas dit d'où ça part. Du coup, en matière de maîtrise de temps, on a aussi des problèmes, parce que ça crée de l'ambition, tout le monde a envie de faire pareil, mais on n'a pas une idée de quand est-ce que ça a commencé et jusqu'où ça ira. Donc ce serait aussi bien peut-être qu'on nous présente la chose dans le temps, mais aussi la technologie elle-même, est-elle maîtrisée par la région ou est-ce qu'on est dans un processus de consommation? Si on était dans un processus de consommation où demain le partenaire technique devait se retirer, est-ce que tout ce qu'on a investi jusqu'alors sera pérennisé? Donc il y a un problème de pérennité qui se pose à partir du moment où on ne maîtrise pas dans les détails la capacité de la région elle-même à gérer un tout petit peu la technologie qui est mise à son service. Le dernier point, c'est peut-être l'apparence qu'on a eue. Il semblait avoir une compétition entre les régions. Du coup, il n'y a pas un partage d'informations suffisant entre les régions et on se dit, est-ce que si la région de Selangor se développait, est-ce que c'est tout le Malaisie qui devient résilient? On ne sait pas. Donc, il aurait aussi bien fallu qu'on mette un peu plus d'accent sur les questions de partage d'expérience afin que le développement ne soit plus seulement régional, ne soit pas partiel, sectoriel, mais qu'il soit un peu étendu sur le territoire. Voilà un peu ce qu'on a mené comme réflexion. Merci.
Merci, Alessio. Interesting reflections. Okay, let's have one more over here, Lloyd. If we can get the microphone over here, Lloyd. Fantastic. And then we will carry on reflecting, but not in this particular session. Lloyd.
So this is more a personal reflection rather than reporting back from the group. I think what I found of interest was the way they have capitalized on the smart in quotes, and they are working at it at the state level, which is one step below the national government. I'll draw attention to two slides. So this one which clearly shows the 12 cities which are within the state as targets for intervention, and then the 12 domains of expertise which needs to be built up as part of a smart Selangor. So here we can see two directly relevant things. One is smart flood management, smart safety and security, and to some extent smart water management. And I think what I find interesting is that the domains are chosen as developmental domains, and we have to then integrate within the development domains. So if we apply this logic to the campaigns that we have been involved in globally, nationally, regionally, nationally, on resilient cities, I think there's a lot we can learn. So either we aim to integrate resilience into the smart cities campaign, or we should aim to use the smart cities framework. So I'll end by saying that India, for the country which I come from, is going through our current Prime Minister, and I'm not a great fan of the Prime Minister, but that's a different matter, is promoting 100 smart cities campaign, and there's been a certain amount of competition to select those cities. I think we should use this framework from Malaysia to provide some entry point. And maybe we try to sell the idea that it's a smart and resilient cities campaign. But if that is challenging, maybe we need to use the same buzzword of smart cities, but point out that with resilience, if you don't have resilience, you can lose all the development gains that you may make. So something like this, I don't know, it has provoked a certain amount of thinking in my mind, and I would encourage us all to think.
Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you. Thank you for sparking thoughts, I'm sure, in other people's minds there. And a question for, if I can, if this particularly is working. If we just move to the next slide, please, that would be great. No, that one. Okay, so a question for you to consider, all of you individually, is okay, so how am I going to share my reflections, my learnings, the sparks of curiosity, the ideas that are emerging for me? How am I going to share them with people back at home? Who am I going to have conversations with? When am I going to have those conversations? How am I going to have those types of conversations? Because one of the Farah's saying she can't wait to get home. Okay? One of the challenges is when we get together on these kind of events, we get together, we have rich conversations, spark ideas, and then what happens when we go back? So we would invite you to consider, to think through, who am I going to share my learnings and reflections with? Who am I going to talk to about this? People in my own organisation, in other organisations. A number of people raised earlier today talking to government representatives when you get back. And when am I going to do that, and how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that impactfully? As Lloyd's point there is, how am I going to do that impactfully in a way that's going to work with the discourse that's going on around smart cities, resilient cities? So it's a question for you all individually to think about that. We wouldn't want you to walk away on Friday without being clear in terms of who you're going to speak to, about what and when, and get some clarity in your minds around that, because that can be helpful. Farah, why don't you make a final point? If I can, is there one more microphone? Yeah, thanks.
Am I correct that June 5th is Environment Day? So perhaps we can all target something for June 5. Yeah? Any one of the ideas that came from there we can take back and talk to the multi-stakeholders, because there will be an event. And we can talk to our city council, mayors, government, CSOs, because everybody will be doing something. So how do we make that smart, and how do we get something from here and use that?
Thank you. Thank you, Farah. Great, okay, so keep those conversations going, those reflections, and there will be different perspectives. So just notice how you are when you hear a different perspective. Notice how you are when you kind of identify something that you feel maybe could be done better. But also notice how you feel about things that are being done really well. Where's the learning there? Often in these situations, we identify things that we think could be better. But let's also identify things that are great. Let's challenge ourselves to identify those too. Okay, so we need to move on to our next session, if we can. And our next session will be now, we move into our regions. So for the first time during the summit, we'll be moving into our 3 different regions. Okay, so it's kind of grouped, some of these regions are grouped together. So if you're in the Americas, then you will be going straight out of this door, no stopping, keep going into Crystal 1 and 2. And if you're in Africa, West or Central Asia, then you'll be taking a right and going to Serenai 1. And if you're in Asia or Pacific, then you'll be taking a right and going to Serenai 2. Okay? We all will be back here together at 4:30. Enjoy your regional conversations, your regional reflections, and then we'll hear how those have gone when you come back. So see you back in here at 4:30, and take your things with you as you move into your different routes. Thank you.